Hello everyone, welcome back to the Power BI tutorials. In this video, we are going to see that what are all the Power Query operations that we can perform over the numerical data using the Power Query editor. Up till now, we have used the Power Query editor to transform or basically manipulate the data that was of textual type or the date or the time data. Okay. But in this video, we are going to see that what are all the Power Query operations that we can perform over the numerical data in Power BI. So for this purpose, we have taken up a sample data set that is P6 Superstore US 2015. It is in the form of an Excel workbook, and we have 3 Excel sheets or tables, that is the orders table, the returns table, and the users table. If we just go to this orders table, so we have 3 numerical columns that we are going to act upon. There are numerous numerical columns, but we are basically going to act upon these 3 numerical columns, that is the quantity ordered, the total sales, and the profit. Okay. So basically this is what we are going to work with. These 3 numerical columns are going to be our point of concern. So let us just load this order table, but using this transform data tab. Now whenever we are using this transform data tab, the table would be opened in the Power Query editor so that we can make some changes to it, which is exactly what we wanted, right? So let's just see how it works. Okay, so this is our data set that's being loaded. If we just hover over it, so these are the 3 things, right? The profit, the quantity ordered, and the sales data. Okay, so what we can do is we can just select these columns using control click, and control click. These 3 columns are selected, and we can go to choose columns and select on choose columns. Okay, so basically we can just uncheck them. We are going to choose this basically profit, quantity, and sales, and click on OK. So what happens with this is these 3 columns would be extracted. Okay, then we can just go to this add column option or transform column option. Both are giving us the same options. The difference in the functionality is that add column adds a new column, while transform changes the selected column. So you can go to this add column option, and as soon as we just click on this any of the numerical value, we can see that from number functions are highlighted or they are enabled. We can perform the operations, like all the standard operations are possible, some of the scientific operations are possible, the trigonometric operations are possible, the rounding of the functions are possible, and some of the information is possible, like you need to find out what is the sign, if the number is even or if the number is odd. So for the profit column, we can just go to this information and we can just click on this sign. So what happens is we are getting the sign. This is positive, what is negative, whatever it is, negative or positive, we are getting this output. So basically we can find out that from where we are getting a profit and from where we are getting a loss. A negative value in profit, we are sure that it is a loss, right? Now what we can do is suppose we want to round off the profit, or basically we want to round off the sales value. Okay, so we can just go to the sales column and we basically want to transform it. We want to change it to a rounded off value. So we can go to this rounding option and we are going to round down. Okay, so you can see now we have got the whole numbers, or basically these values have been rounded down. Similarly, we can also round off this profit thing by rounding it to down values. Rounding down means the lower value would be taken, otherwise the upper value would be taken. If you want to just check it, you can see that 4.56, if we just clicked on this round down, then what happens is this 4.56 changes to 4. Okay, but if we just remove this and we go to this round up option, then this 4.56 changes to 5. So this is the difference between round up and round down. Whenever we are working with the profit or the sales data, general purpose is to round down the value so that we are getting a rough estimate, and basically the lower profits. Okay, so that is what we have done. We have rounded down the profit values, we have rounded down the sales values. Basically, okay, so we need to just round down the sales value as well, because we just undid the step, so the sales values rounded off was also undone, so we can just again round down them. And with this, the sign column is also added. Okay, so we can just say that how many quantities were ordered and the total sales value of this particular quantity, that is for one quantity, and this is the total quantity order. So we can just multiply both of them to find out that what is the monetary gain that we obtained. Like one quantity or one thing was sold for like 13 rupees or 13 whatever it is, and there were the 4 of total being sold. So for that, if we want to find out that what is the total amount of the 4 quantities, so we can just write 13 into 4 and we would be getting the output as like 52. So that's a simple thing. And for that purpose, what we can do is we can just select these 2 columns by control clicking them, and we can just go to this add column option, because we want to add a new column of total sales or the total monetary gain, whatever it is. Then we can just go to this standard option and we can just select this multiply. Now what happens is we are getting the multiplication values of each and everything. That is what is the value that we get when we multiply these stuff with one another, like this you can see. Okay, so this is the multiplication value, and the name of the column that we have got is multiplication. If we want, we can just change it to say total, simple total. Okay, so this is the output that we have got of multiplication. Similarly, if we just divide this is the profit for one quantity, and if we can just multiply this profit and quantity thing, so we would be able to get a total of profit as well. So we can just control click them once again and multiply them together like this, and let's just change its name to say total profit. Total profit. Okay, so that's absolutely correct. Now we can see here. Okay, now what we can do, if we just subtract the profit from the total value, we would be able to find out the cost, that what is the cost that we are getting that commodity at. So for getting the cost, we can just write total minus total profit. So this is the subtraction operation. So for the subtraction operation, you need to make sure one thing, that whatever the value of the column is, whatever the larger value is, you need to first select that larger value, then you need to select the smaller value. Like first the larger value and then you need to control select the smaller value, because in Power Query Editor, the sequences in which you have selected the columns, they also matter. So the larger value, the smaller value, you can just go to standard and click on subtract, and you can see that we have got the profit 36 rupees for the first one and some 23,000 for the second one. Now the question is, over here we are getting a total of 4,642, but we are getting a negative profit, which means we are getting a loss. So automatically what happens is this value is added to it, which means the cost that we bore was 5,830 rupees, but we had to sell it for 4,642 rupees, which means we are having this much of loss. So we can just give it as the cost price, like this. So we would be able to get the total cost price of the things that we have got, or the different things. Okay, now basically these are the different ways through which you can just perform the operation. Also there is one more thing, like this is the cost price, and if we just divide this cost price by the quantity, so we would be able to find out the individual cost price. Like right now we are finding the cost price of the whole, like if there are these 4 quantities, so we are finding out the cost price of these 4 quantities, that is this 36 is for 4. So if we want to find out the individual cost price, we can select this cost price, and we can then just control click on this quantity thing, and we can go to standard and click on divide. So here is the division performed. So we are able to find out the individual cost price, that what is the individual cost price of the items. So we can just rename it as individual CP. CP is for the cost price. Okay. So this is how you can just get the individual cost price, and these are basically the different operations possible over the numerical data in Power Query editor. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.